Greetings and God bless. So, just now I was watching this YouTuber who's this traditional craftsperson, and he was talking about his brainstorming, trying to figure out where he was going to go spend his vacation. And so, one of his options was the United States. And I said, I mean, like America's expensive, and we have 10 million invaders. We've got 10 million illegals that have come in over the past 2 years or longer. Now, also, so airports are where like there's a lot of difficult things going on there, and it's not just New York and San Francisco that has problems with addiction and homelessness. These are growth industries. Addiction is a growth industry for nonprofits. Homelessness is a growth industry. Time and time again, if you ever watch those stories about, like Portland had, I don't know if it still does, but it had this little block, this little portion of a block where they had pallets and tents on a pallet, and it was $60,000 a month for homeless people to live in a tent on a pallet in Portland, Oregon. $60,000 a month, and nobody's saying that's corrupt. That's ridiculous. Rent isn't even $60,000 a month in New York City in an apartment. But if you're a homeless person in Portland and you're living on a pallet, it's $60,000, 60000. And I saw something similar. I forget where it was, but it's this incredibly corrupt situation in America. And excuse me, I don't know. Nobody does anything. Nobody with any leverage does anything. Everybody's just buying into it or blackmailed. I don't know what, but and so you think, okay, so I'll just go somewhere conservative. I've been trying to do that too. And so I moved to South Dakota. I had been in Virginia. I had lived in Montana. And places like that have been infiltrated by this woke, Marxist, communist, socialist agenda. And it's been going on for, I don't know, like some folks were telling me like 40 years ago, this has started. So you will find the rainbow flag with the pedo icons at the children's library. You'll find people using pronouns in what were traditionally conservative red states, traditional states. And I mean like traditional states like Montana, South Dakota, whatever. So, and with that agenda comes addiction and alcoholism and homelessness and violence and defund the police. So if you're coming from Europe and you're just assuming America's the same place it was 10 years ago, it's not. America is an unsafe place. Police aren't doing anything to protect anybody unless it suits some sort of narrative, and unless it's some sort of, oh, they're doing such a great job because they're doing this or whatever. Like, I do not recommend visiting America. Like, if you're coming from wherever and thinking, this is going to be a nice little vacation. If you have a lot of money and if you have somebody who's taking care of you, or if you're really resilient and you can handle being around addicted, violent, mentally ill, because there's a tremendous amount of mental illness because of this drug situation, because drugs, getting vulnerable people on drugs and homeless, that makes everybody money. That's what's making the nonprofits money. That's what's making the yuppies money. That's what's making young people money. I don't know. I don't understand why. I don't understand why manufacturing isn't where it's at, but it's not. The main income thing here is like universities, military, doing some sort of agenda, and then creating a crisis of mental illness, homelessness, addiction. That's what America is doing. That's what it does. It's not You may think it's like, oh, entertainment or innovation. No, no, that's not what America does. If you go to major cities, what's going on is a problem, and having the working class people pay taxes to fix that problem that was created by whoever's in charge. So that's just how America is these days. It's not bringing anything really of value. There's a few people who are doing something of value, but yeah. So if you want to go to a place where the food is prepared by an illegal immigrant who probably has the flu or Ebola or something like that. And when somebody's working entry level, so they don't have a work, that don't know any English, don't know anybody, like they're not washing their hands. Imagine, okay, you go to the bathroom. So you've already taken too much time going to the bathroom, right? Because when somebody's doing entry level work, they've got 10 people's jobs to do. And so when you're going to do a real clean your hands, right, that takes a few minutes. When I worked as a laborer on a farm, the farmers gave me stink eye for even having to go to the bathroom at all. So you're thinking you're going to come to America, that it's going to be the American dream. No, it's not. It's there's crazy stuff. People loot stores in America. Like the mainstream stores are closing down in America. The convenience stores, the big box stores close down in certain parts of America because people are stealing, and the police do nothing, and the companies, they close, and then the community gets mad and calls those companies that close racist for expecting customers to pay for their products. And the thing is, in America, the liberals who push this agenda, the liberals who want everybody to be on drugs and want everybody to be homeless and want there to have no borders, these liberals, they don't want any police. So we have like anarchy, and it is just by the grace of God that things aren't even worse than they are. But I wouldn't recommend America. I don't know what other country I would recommend. I would recommend a country that's not popular, that's not being, having a lot of people shipped there, because so we have all these illegals who, like, they're living, they're homeless, they're not taken care of, and even those who are taken care of, they don't have a command of English. They don't know the American way of life. They don't care about the American way of life. Speaking from my experience when I was in Denver, and there would be people who were not following traffic laws in a brand new car, driving a brand new car, and giving me attitude when I was crossing at my light and just trying to get onto the other part of the sidewalk. And they wanted to have a fight with me because I was like, wait for me to cross the street. And, it was Latino men. So, and there's just like, when I was in Denver and in the city that was next to it called Aurora, like I was the only Caucasian on the bus at the restaurant or whatever. It was like a Mexican satellite country there, and whatever. But I want to just be able to cross the street safely and not get threatened, like with a fight, because I'm just trying to get to the other end of the street. And if people come here, like nobody told me rules of the road no longer exist. If I know, oh, we are in absolute anarchy, okay, but anyway, so there's assholes who have come here. Sorry for that terminology, but so I don't know what country is not being invaded by by Africa or by Latin America or by China. Like that's a big population that's come to America are people from China. So America's under invasion. America is at war. Like the globalists are attacking America. And then we have the woke stuff. So all this LBGT pedo stuff. So if you come here, let's say you're some traditional craftsperson that thinks that they're just going to enjoy America, people are going to get on you for not calling them the wrong gender because they're identifying as the opposite of what you see with your eyes and what you know in your heart. And so there's this big like shame and blame psychoses that the liberals in this country and the conservatives in name only, the fake patriots, the fake patriots, the fake Americans, the traitors of America have allowed to take over this country. So you come here and Americans like are insane. Like, and I know I sound insane, but I'm telling you the truth. Like just look at whatever city you're thinking of going to or whatever, like a rural place, like this one traditional craftsperson was talking about a rural place. The thing is, it's hard to go visit a rural place in America, like on a plane, because you're going to have to, get off at a major airport and then take a connecting flight to a rural area. But I guess like and then these rural areas, like these kind of nowhere places where they're not sending illegal border crossers, there's crime. Like it's a poor neighborhood. Or there's a lot of homelessness and addiction and mental illness, or there's nothing, or it's a total ghost town. So yeah, I mean, if you're going to spend a couple $1,000s traveling, hotel, and all the little mix-ups and mess-ups that happen when you travel, if you're going to fly across the Atlantic or Pacific or whatever, I just want to give you a heads up about America. It's not like it's messed up. Like we are at war. Like nobody's declared it, but far as I can tell, there's been a coup in this country over the election and stuff like that. And who knows, there may have been a coup that occurred, in 1920 with Woodrow Wilson. There may have been stuff even from the very beginning with George Washington and the Freemasons. But I wouldn't recommend America unless you're protected, unless you have somebody who's going to show you around and drive you around and kind of shelter you from the crisis, because there's a crisis going on. There's a crisis of addiction, mental illness, homelessness, and then this woke agenda, and then this anti-white agenda. So yeah, like and the thing is, there's a lot of progressive liberal white people who hate white people, who hate anybody else who's not like in their milieu, and then we got this environmentalist thingy, and the strange thing about this war or whatever against America, against Caucasians, is the people themselves are culprits of they're doing racism, or they have cars and are driving and flying, and they have a big carbon footprint on the planet, and they're big hypocrites that poison the world one way or the other, participate in human trafficking, or they turn a blind eye to it, because that's what makes the whole world go round, is human trafficking. Far as I can tell, like the higher up you go, the bigger the company, the bigger the position, it's human trafficking. There's something going on about that. And so I think, like, I believe that valuable, important people are those who are working at the gas station or the grocery store, or just serving your coffee or serving you food at the restaurant or whatever. Because the higher up you go into some weird corporation, this corpse, this zombie vampire thing that like I think capitalism is great. I think, yeah, commerce is great. Let's have an exchange, grow some beets and sell it to buy some radishes or something like that. But like something's just out of control here. And America is just so, like, Americans are just, they've lost their soul, they've lost their mind, and they could care less about it. I don't know if it's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I don't know who these people are. I don't know what happened to my family or what happened to my friends, because these were thoughtful, intelligent, capable members of this country 20 years ago. But something happened. I don't know if it was with the Obama election or what, but something's very strange. So anyways, I don't know, like, maybe, like, if I was to recommend, like, if you're not a big city person and you just kind of want to see like plain, yeah, it's really hard because there's poverty, and so you don't want to be mugged. Like, the places that the illegals aren't going to go are places that don't have corruption. I mean, they don't have corruption because it's already, it's like, it's a different type of corruption, because there's just these ghost town places. So so I'm just thinking, go visit someplace in Europe that's not popular with migrants or immigrants from Africa. Honestly, like, for some reason, that's, like, there's something going on. There's something really problematic with all this immigration. And yeah, things are a problem. Like, something must be happening that's really bad in Africa, and we know that it's exploited and whatnot. But like, when, what was it, the 1800s, when the Irish came to America, or Scottish, or the English, or like a lot of Europeans came to America. Like, there was work to be done and stuff. Like, it worked out. Like, they were assimilated, and they weren't causing mayhem, as far as the narrative we're told. But yeah, like, with what's, like, if you just look at the news of what's going on, of the illegals at Texas, and illegals being bused and flown to other parts of the country, like, Maine or New York or whatever. There's all these problems. Denver, like, these cities are overwhelmed. They don't have the capacity, and they didn't even have the capacity to deal with the illegals, because they didn't even have capacity to deal with their own homeless people. And that's the strange thing about, like, Denver, for instance, is there's, I don't know, thousands of homeless people, and like, Denver has this troubling level of mental illness and homelessness, because it's a drug capital. It's like it was the first place to legalize marijuana, and so it has, and so it just has this drug draw. Like, it's this drug city. Like, people go to Denver to get drugs, and the wreckage you see there is from, in my personal experience as a pedestrian. So I've walked everywhere that I've lived. I've never seen anything as bad as Denver. People, like, men not not pulling their pants up all the way, and not because they're trying to show off, but because they're so out of it. Men with no shoes on, homeless men, and just nothing's done about it. It's so tragic. It's the pathos there is just Dickensian. It's like third world. So Denver couldn't handle its own homeless problem, but it took in like a bunch of illegals last year and spent $30,000 on each illegal. $30,000 on an illegal alien that they could have spent on their desperate homeless population. But so anyways, that's this corruption again. Like, this is a growth industry. America is about social justice, activism, corruption, grifting. That's what it's doing. So if you're going to be a tourist here, it is out of control. Like this corruption, this grifting, like these folks are not saying, oh, and we want to make it nice for tourists. No, like you're supposed to be doped up, drunk, so you don't notice how bad the homelessness is. So you don't notice how bad the mental illness is. And that's not even to say like the weird scamming that goes on at restaurants, like weird things, like loud, like restaurants are so loud, so unpleasant, like they're, or the food's unpleasant, or just like things are not, like this is not, I mean, I'm an American, and I find it unpleasant to go to most restaurants, even to most stores, and I don't understand why there's so much friction, why there's like stores become so hostile, why cities become so hostile to customers. Like, don't you want people to shop here? And so it just makes you wonder, okay, so they're getting money from somewhere else. I don't know. So yeah, like what's a good country that's not being invaded, that's not being, that's not at war with its own people, with this woke stuff and this environmentalist guilting stuff, this hypocritical stuff about the environment, but then the person who's guilting you about this, that, and the other are just as they're exactly what they're claiming you are. And with the anti-white rhetoric and anti-traditional stuff. So yeah, I would not recommend America as a place to visit. Maybe like, I mean, I don't know, like wherever there's not people being kidnapped for money, because Mexico, apparently there's kidnappings that go on there. I wouldn't go to Canada because they do lockdowns and stuff like that. So anyways, I mean, I'm thinking Poland, maybe like where's a country that is pleasant to visit, like Croatia, Macedonia, like there's good history. I don't know how much migrant stuff is going on there, but yeah, America is like, it's very troubled. And I mean, people do visit here and maybe they enjoy themselves, but yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. So for whatever that's worth. Thanks for watching. God bless.